Okay, here are some terms that you're going to want to know if you want to see how applications of derivatives can be used in economics. So first we have the cost function, which calculates the total cost of producing X units. So let's say we have a factory and they're producing some units. The cost function will tell you the total amount of money that they spent to create, let's say 10 units. Now the average cost function is the same thing, except it'll find you the average of it. So the average cost function is C of X divided by X, because the average just means the total divided by the number of things being added up. So this will tell you the average cost of each unit when, let's say, 10 products are being made. Now for the revenue function, it's the total revenue made from X units. So not necessarily the profit function. Revenue is just how much money you sell the products for. And the profit function is actually notated by pi of X instead of P of X. And this is the total profit from X units. And the profit function is calculated by the revenue function, R of X, minus the cost function. And that's because the revenue function is how much you bring in minus how much it costs to actually make those products, which leaves you with the profit. And the marginal cost function, the final one, is C prime of X, which is the rate of change of the cost function, which will basically tell you how much additional cost you will bear for the company for each X unit sold. So let's say we have C prime of 3. That will give you the additional cost to create the 4th unit. Okay, question 1, we have the cost to produce a certain product is given by the cost function C of X, which equals 0.02 x to the 3 minus 0.1 x squared plus 8.75x. Find the marginal cost of producing 10 products and find the cost of producing all 10 products. So the difference here is that the marginal cost is the derivative of the cost function, because it gives you the rate of change of it, and the rate of change is nothing but the derivative. So we need to find the derivative of the cost function, which is C prime of X, which equals, so we can just use the power rule. So this is just going to be 0.06 x squared minus 0.2 x plus 8.75. So this is the marginal cost function, and we need to find when x equals 10. So all we have to do is just plug in 10, and if you plug this into your calculator, you're going to get 7.35. So this is the marginal cost at 10 units, which means that this is the additional cost that you're going to have to use to produce the next product, which is the 11th one. So this basically gives you the cost to produce the next additional product. Okay, so now we need to find the cost of producing all 10 units, which is just C of 10. So we already know C of X is this function here. So all we have to do is plug it into the just normal cost function. C of 10 equals 79.5. So what this gives you is the total cost to create all 10 products. So if you add up the individual cost of each product 1 through 10, this is going to be 79.5. And this is the final answer. Okay, question 2, we have the cost of producing another product is given as C of X equals 0.01 x squared plus 50x plus 1,500. Find C prime of 100, the exact cost of producing the 101st product, and the average of 100 products. So let's just use a real life example for this one. Let's just say Pokemon cards. So we have to find the C prime 100, which is the marginal cost of creating the 100th Pokemon card, which is also the additional cost of making the next product. So first, let's just find the derivative of the cost function, which is the marginal cost function. So C prime of X equals 0.02 x plus 50. And this gets cut off because it's just a constant. So we need to find C prime of 100. So C prime of 100, if you put this into your calculator, you're going to get 52. So this means that to create the next product, it's going to cost $52, the next Pokemon card. So let's box that in. Now we have to find the exact cost of producing the 100 first. And I said exact here because technically C prime of X actually gives you an estimate of the exact cost to produce the next function, which is why you can write C prime of X as C of X plus 1 minus C of X. And it's an estimate because if you graph the derivative function and the actual function, you're going to see that there's actually a little discrepancy, and it's very small, but it's still an estimate because it's not the exact amount. Which is why, to find the exact cost, we're going to have to do C of 101 minus C of 100. And this is going to give us the exact cost to produce the 101st Pokemon card. And if you calculate this and put into your calculator, you're going to get 52.01. You see the difference is very small, just by 0.01 cents. Even though there's a difference, that's why you still have to estimate it to be this right here. So let's bubble this in. And finally, we have to find the average of 100 Pokemon cards. So the average is going to be C. This is going to be C of X divided by X. And this is just the cost function 0.01 x squared plus 50x plus 1,500 divided by x. And this is just going to equal 0.01x plus 50 plus 1,500 divided by x. Now if you plug this into your calculator as well, you're going to get 66. And now what this means is that when 100 products are made, the average to create each product when 100 products are made is $66. So that's not necessarily the exact cost for each, it's just the average of each one when exactly 100 products are made. So we have our final answers. The marginal cost at 100 is 52. The exact cost of producing the 100 first is $52.01. And the average for each product made when a total of 100 products are made is $66. So I'll just add a dollar sign real quick. And these are our final answers. Now let's say, suppose those Pokemon cards sold for $125. We have to find the revenue, marginal revenue, and profit functions. So the functions for all three. And we also have to find the marginal profit function when x equals 100. So first, we know the revenue function, revenue, is R of x. We know the profit, the marginal revenue, is R prime of x, and the profit function is the revenue function minus the cost function. So R of x minus C of x. And this is also said as pi of x. And we have to find this one, all three of these functions, and P prime of 100. So first, let's find the revenue function. This is just going to equal R of x equal, we know that it's sold for 125, so we're going to say 125x for each product. So let's bubble this in, or box it in. And then the marginal revenue is just the derivative of the revenue function, so which is just r prime of x. This is just going to equal 125. So let's box this in as well. And the marginal revenue is the exact same interpretation of the cost function except for revenue. And the profit is, we're going to say as pi of x. So this one, pi of x, equals the revenue function, 125x, minus the cost function, which was 0.01x squared plus 50x plus 1,500. Now, if we simplify this, this is going to be negative 0.01x squared plus 75x minus 1,500. Okay, so now we need to find p prime of 100, which is just the marginal profit function. So the derivative of this is just going to be negative 0.02x plus 75. Now if you plug in 100, this is going to equal $73. So let's box this in as well. And let's box in the profit function as well. Okay, so now let's see what everything here means. So the revenue function, which is 125x, just means that every time you sell a product, that's how much money you take. But there's going to be additional costs, which is the cost function. So it's not the money that you finally get, which is a profit function. It's just the money that you bring in. And the marginal revenue is just the rate of change of the revenue function, the same interpretation of the cost function. The profit function is r of x minus c of x, which is the final amount that the company gets from selling the Pokemon cards. And the marginal profit function is just the rate of change of the profit that you're getting, which in this case means that after you sell 100 Pokemon cards, the rate of change of profit is $73 per Pokemon card that you sell. So these are the final answers.